VCT China Bangkok tier list, Trace said the Americas teams aren't strong. That's kind of unfathomably based from Trace. If Trace have changed a bunch of their comps and they come in and they play some great Valorant, oh my god, that's going to make the tournament even better than it already looks like it would be. That would be so sick. Because at the moment, the Chinese teams actually have an advantage, I think, because their kickoff ended so much earlier. They've got the chance to change things. Nobody in any of the other regions can change shit. They just haven't had any time to scrim. You haven't had time to practice. So in theory, if the Chinese teams have actually spent the time changing stuff, they could be coming in with some great, like, hardcore anti-strats, haven't shown any tape, changed up their comps, playing like meta stuff. The Chinese teams could be fierce in the Swiss stage. Like, it might drop off a little bit later on in the tournament, that advantage, but at the beginning, that could be nasty for getting them some big, like, maybe even upset wins. They might actually beat teams that are better than them, but because they have this advantage, they might get the wins. I genuinely think that Trace can beat G2. I'm not going to pred it, but I really think it's possible that Trace can beat G2. Just because of that factor of, like, G2 can't change anything. They can't really scrim. So there's no way that even if they did change anything, it would be good. So, like, they're going to play the same stuff. You've seen them play every map. You know roughly what they play on every map. And you could come up with some antis for some of the stuff that they do. For sure you could. On Abyss, we've already seen it from Sentinels. On Pearl, I think you could do something a little similar with the Teho making it a bit of a problem. But I also think that Trent's position is pretty anti-able when he plays defense, so pushed up on A main. I also think that what they do on Lotus, where they have the Breach Teho holding over towards B and occasionally just both in their iPads, you could run some fast B pops that would work as nice anti. So I could see it. They wouldn't have been practicing for like a week though, because Chinese New Year is a very big holiday. That's a great point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, so listen, you got to go for the grind set, I guess. Give the odds. What, for Trace versus G2? Well, if Trace had been putting in a ton of work, and if they come up with really good ideas, and if they've done very good anti, then I actually think they would be favored. But the problem is, all of those ifs are doing serious heavy lifting in that scenario. So because all of those things are unknown, like for example, they might not have changed their comps, they might not have done effective anti, I'm sure they will have done anti on G2, but it depends on whether or not it actually, like, the theory works out. And will they end up playing good Valorant even if they have changed their comps? Generally speaking, they do, Trace, but what would I give the game though? I'd probably give Trace a 40% chance of winning. If it was Trace from kickoff versus G2 from kickoff, I'd only give them like a 20% chance of winning. So I think I'm doubling their chances of winning in this game because of the gap, something like that. I don't know what the actual odds are. Like, I don't know what the bookmakers are giving them. I have a feeling that a game like that is probably one of the underrated ones.